Hey lovies, welcome back to my channel. I'm your Dream Ty and I'm your girl Ty Mars. In today's video, you're tuning in to a quick get ready with me tutorial, and to be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more tutorials, hauls, and videos from me. And be sure to stay tuned to the rest of this video to get all the tips and tricks on how I got this final beat. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later lovies. As always, I start with a nice clean base. And I'm going in with a dime size amount of my NYX Hydra Touch Priming Oil, which is a really thin base, and just a dime size amount, and working that into the areas of my combination skin where I get the most dry, and definitely avoiding the areas where I oil up the most. Because this winter season my skin has been super confused, but we're going to take care of that really quickly. One foundation that I always use from NYX is their Total Control Drop Foundation. I have 3 shades and I like it because it's thin, but it packs a lot of punch and is good for all skin types. Now I have 3 shades, number 16 being the first one I ever reviewed on my channel, 16.5 being one of my newest ones that I bought just because of the shade extensions having more neutral shades, and 17 being my summer shade, which is fairly on the warmer side. Now let's get a closer look. I definitely pay attention to the undertones in the dry down shade. Right now I'm very washed out a little bit with my winter complexion, so 16 won't really cut it for me. 16.5 being that maybe, and 17 definitely not being it because I don't want to look like a stain. And 16 is very warm. 17 has a little bit of red, and 16.5, which is nutmeg, being that fairly neutral shade that has a mixture of warm and neutral undertones. I always say I don't really pay attention to the colors that matches my neck. I pay attention to more what matches with my body. My neck is my birthmark colors. I can't do nothing about that. So I like to always match my body. But always remember, if you do not have that much hyperpigmentation, if it doesn't go into your neck, don't bring it home. But we going with nutmeg today. And before we do anything, I'm going to make sure I reduce my hyperpigmentation with my NYX Concealer palette in Deep. And I'm taking a mixture of the golden shade and the orange shade just in the areas where I have subtle hyperpigmentation, which is usually under the eyes and around the mouth. And I'm taking it with the NYX Flat Foundation brush. And a thin layer is all you need. Do not layer on cream color correcting products. It cakes on a little bit too much, and it's supposed to be a thin base. And before anything, I'm going to use my Total Control Drop Primer, which is good on my T-zone, just to basically reduce shine and make sure it has a little bit of matte-ness. And I like to mix my primer with my color correctors just to make sure it's a seamless finish and we can hurry up with the rest of my complexion. And I'm taking my favorite foundation brush from NYX, and you've seen this in the Jackie Aina videos. I've been using this since jump, and yes honey, it's bomb. Okay, it is good wet to dry too. I believe it's brush number 4. If not, I'll let you know in the description bar. And I basically just buff out all the colors onto my face to have a seamless, slight brightening agent to my regions that we apply the product on, just to help give a nice even base before adding our foundation. Now going into the foundation, I literally take the remnants off the brush and basically buff it into my skin. And if I need more, I add more accordingly. Please don't do it the Instagram way where you're dropping the whole thing all over your brush and on your face, and then you're wasting a whole bunch of product. With this foundation, always know less is more. If you need more, add more, okay? And if I want to go back in with another layer, I like to pat. Patting definitely helps with the conceal part of this foundation when you're going into your second layer. So pat rather than buff, just to make sure you build up on the regions like under your eyes and around your mouth. And the finish isn't completely matte. It's more like a satin matte, so I do like that during the winter time. For my cream-based contour, I went with something simple, my favorite, the NYX Mineral Stick in the color number 13, Rich. And I just lightly sculpt my face, nothing too crazy. If you like to see a well-detailed video on how I use cream contoured products, be sure to click this video right here. And instead of finishing off my cream contour, I went in with my new Micro Contour Duo Pencil, which is one of the new spring launches, in the shade Medium Deep. And I'm basically taking that along the nose. What I like about it is kind of reminiscent if you've ever tried the NYX Gotcha Cover pencils, but it comes with a highlight shade and a darker shade, and I like the precision of it. And what I can say is blending it out, it definitely was creamy. It didn't take that much for me to blend it out. And because I like such a thin base with foundation, I like a full coverage concealer, and I'm using the NYX concealer jar in the shade Caramel, which I love. It gives a nice good golden undertone to my under eye regions, and I just use it as a light sculpting tool, and I basically go along my nose contour just for everything to mesh together. After finishing my face, you already know I'm going in with my NYX Precision Brow Pencil in the shade Espresso. I have full brows, so for me, I switch on my brows all the time, but for now, I kind of like that nice sculpted look where it's just basically playing off my natural shape and just giving it a little bit more definition. And I use the same concealer jar to sculpt out my brows, which is the NYX concealer jar in Caramel. All brushes that I am using in this tutorial are NYX brushes as well, and I will include them down in the description bar. Now to set my overall face, I'm going into the NYX Stay Matte Not Flat powder in the shade Nutmeg. Oh my god, that's my winter color. This is how you know how light I'm getting. And I just basically go in with a nice fluffy brush, and I basically set all the areas where I want the most oil control around my face, around my chin, and definitely in my T-zone areas. And to set my under eyes, I'm going into the NYX No Filter powder in the shade Golden, which I like to give a little bit of contrast. It's not too bright, but it still has a nice warm yellow undertone to set my under eye region. And as for blush, I'm going into the NYX Ombre Blush in the SKU Nude to Me, which is one of my favorite blushes because it has a pinky but bronzy undertone, and it helps warm up my face without going too dark, but gives a nice little flush as well. And to bronze up our face, I am going with a NYX matte bronzer in the shade Dark 10, which is number 4. And I love to give a nice sculpt to my skin. It's really warm, so I love how the contrast is on my skin. And this is how you know how light I am this winter season, that I can use a bronzer to contour. Oh my goodness. And as for my glow, I'm going into the new NYX Born to Glow Illuminating palette, and I'm mixing the bronzy shade and the gold shade. And I love this palette. I'm so happy they came out with a really nice warm highlighting palette. And to set in that highlighter to make sure I have a nice illuminating but matte finish, I went in with my matte setting spray just for everything to soak in and adapt to my skin. Now starting with my eyes, for my eyeshadow base, I decided to use the NYX Lid Lingeries in matte, and I used the color called Sorry Not Sorry. I love this because a little bit goes a long way. A light tap from the basically the doe foot and then blending it out with my finger does exactly the job. And then after that, and to transition from my palette, I'm going with the Perfect Filter palette in Rustic Antique and taking that really slightly shimmery terracotta color and just working that into my crease. And I just wanted to buff this color just to give a little bit of definition from the eyeshadow base, and I also took it along the lash line just to get a little bit of dimension to my eye and give that kind of a wide set appeal. Then going into that really dark clay tone and taking that into the crease, what I love to do is always have a transitional tones if I am using the same color family. I just want a nice progression of color. And then going into that nice warm brown shimmery tone, I took that all over the lid just to get a nice wash of the color and to get a little bit of depth. And what I like about this color, it's shimmery, but it's not over the top. And I didn't even have to put anything down, and the color really showed up pretty nicely. I'm not mad at it. And I always like to make sure I'm smudging it under the lash line as well, just to play off of the original warm tone that we put down. Going back into that terracotta first starter shade, we're going to just soften up the edges of the dark tone that we just took along the lash line and all over the lid. Always remember, soft lines. Now going into that red copper shade, and I'm taking that just towards the center of the lid, focusing that just to have a nice kind of halo eye effect. And just smudging it around, nothing too perfect because we are layering another color on top of it. And now we're going to our sister palette, the Love You So Mochi in Electric Pastels. Such cool springy colors, but let's work in something a little crazy. So we're going into that hot pink, and I'm going in with a flat brush. It's a really creamy consistency, so you have to be careful in the way that you layer it up. I didn't use any base, so you're seeing me just throwing in right on another shadow. And the pigmentation is really nice. It's just that you have to make sure you're using the right brush to dispense the color without it looking swatchy because it's so soft. Then we're layering on that slight peach tone towards the center just to get a nice transitional phase through the eye. And we're putting that on the bottom lash line, just towards the center of the eye. And it gives like a nice fun wide set look to my eyes too. I like doing basically a reverse halo eye up and down. I poked myself in the eye. A pearlized purple tone just to give a little bit of contrast to this really warm eyeshadow look. And we're taking that right in the center again, and as you can see, it's like a fun confetti kind of situation. It's really a fade of colors, and I like the way that each color kind of clashed and set into each other. For my inner corner, I wanted it to be a little bit more bold, so I'm going in with their new metallic eyeliners, a cream base sharpenable eyeliner in rose gold, and I loved how the color really turned out. It gave a little bit of transition, and then I went in with the jumbo eye pencil and french fries to just basically bolden up my crease, just to give it a little bit more shape and give it a little bit more definition. And I buffed it out with a regular all over brush just to smudge out and soften the lines a little bit. And for my waterline, I went into my Slide On Glide On in the Hunter Green color just to give a little bit more dimension to the eye and play off the colors that we already have. There's nothing like jewel tones to jazz up an eye. And for my liquid liner, I wanted something really thin, so I'm using the NYX That's the Point liner and Henna Fine. It's super skinny, so I definitely love doing a nice, really tight line cat eye with this. It's easy to use and it's a felt tip. Now, I already have pretty full long lashes, but I wanted to try their lash primer just to see if it gave a little bit more oomph to the eye accompanying the mascara that I'm going to be using today. And I'm trying out the new Worth the Hype mascara. It's supposed to be one of their new fiber mascaras that has a soft synthetic fiber that adds to the lash, and you can apparently recoat on the mascara as much as you like to increase the volume and lengthening of your lashes. And what I have to say is I do like the formula, and I do like that it's soft, that I can still continuously add on to my lashes. I just personally don't like the old school brush. Like, I wish it was a silicone or like a synthetic brush, or like maybe even plastic or something, but it gets the job going. It definitely did a nice little coating to my lashes. Now it's time for the lipstick cocktail. To go with this warm, colorful look, I want to do a neutral lip. So to sculpt out my lips, I'm going in with the Slide On Glide On lip pencil in my favorite color, Urban Cafe. It's such a pretty chocolate brown, and it looks nice with any color, especially as just a nice neutral base. And this formula is so creamy. I swear I have like 6 of these colors just in stock. I decided to do double the glosses today, so I'm trying out the new Strictly Vinyl Gloss in the shade Bombshell, which is a pretty chocolatey, kind of caramelly color on me. It's super pigmented, and I definitely like how one swipe definitely did the job. And I paired it with a little bit of shimmer, so I went in with their new dual chromatic lip glosses in the shade Cocktail Party, which is such a pretty lip topper. It gives a nice pinky goldy undertone, which I freaking love. If you like to see a swatch of all of the Strictly vinyls as well as the dual chromatic glosses, definitely leave me down in the comments down below and let me know if you'd like to see the whole collection. Don't forget to subscribe to see more tutorials, hauls, and videos from me. And oh yeah, check out my latest video.